Hello everyone, I decided to do something different for a change, and that's build a house in Sims 4. This is a sped up recording of that actual build. I decided to go for a little bit of a modern kind of building, like a contemporary studio kind of construction here. As you can see, I'm trying to use as few sort of separate rooms as possible. And as you will see in a moment, I'll do a couple of things here that sort of expands the building to the left and right, but not too much. It's going to be a pretty small home, and the idea would be that I would have to have at least 2 people in there being able to live off this building. I decided to go for a relatively high building at first, as you can see here, but that didn't turn out too well, so that's not going to stay that way. This looks interesting, but it eventually was not what I wanted to keep around. Although mainly the placements of windows were, well, they were pretty accurate to what I ended up with. And so I wanted to also put it on a little bit of a foundation, and then I decided, well, you know, it's all cool, but the walls they were getting a little too high, if you know what I mean. So I decided just to get rid of all of the previously built stuff and just go with something different. But here I'm also sort of doing modern wall things. I don't know. It kind of looked awesome, so I decided to keep that. Yeah, then I decided, well, no, I need to lower the building a little bit because it looks silly right now. I did. There we are. And we'll put just a regular door in there. And I decided to put some windows in, because without windows you can't really live in this sort of house. So there we are. And I fiddled around with the windows a little bit, as you can see. And I also wanted to make sure that this home was usable as a starter's home, so I just wanted to get that going as well. Here we are. Alright, this is looking relatively okay. Yeah, I've fiddled around with the beams on the roof for a bit. I actually did a couple of attempts to improve that construction, and then I decided to paint them all white, but eventually I decided to go back to some form of brown, but you'll see. Also, I like the pastel, so I just decided to go for a little pastel look there. Pastels are good. Nothing bad with pastels. Pastels are nice, soft colors in my opinion. I really enjoy using them. And then I was fiddling around with the base a little bit, but that didn't end up the way I wanted it. So I stopped fiddling. There we are. The basic trim had to be sort of equal to the base, so just did that. There we are. Alright, we're getting to the point where I'm starting to consider what I'm gonna put inside. That was difficult because I also wanted to make sure that I had affordable stuff inside, and that made it extra difficult, if you will. I don't know why I tried to expand to the right and left with that one. I have no idea. So yeah, The Sims 4. I'll be doing more of these videos in the near future. Particularly the build videos. I like doing build videos. I've done a few private videos for friends, trying to show off what I built in Sims 2, amongst others. Never in Sims 4. Now here I was just considering the roof, redoing the roof a little bit, thinking like, oh, we need a little bit of sort of a roof. Maybe let's see how that looks. And then I decided, no, it doesn't look good. It actually looks pretty terrible. I'm not doing that. I need a flat roof. This is not working for me. just maybe decided to, you know, cut it back a little, and then it still didn't look quite right. So it needs to be modern, so let's keep it modern. Alright, well, I decided to start with the shower first for some reason. I don't know why, but I did. And the toilet. Decided to go for at least, you know, a level 2 toilet. Nothing too annoying. And I put some wall lights up. Wall lights are okay, they're cheap, but I reconsidered my wall lights almost immediately. And I decided to go for a pretty comfortable bed. Utopiates, which is pretty good. In the basic format it was there, it looked pretty decent, so I decided to put that in. Get a nice little modern dresser with that. There we go. And a mirror. Obviously, it needs a mirror. And I decided to go for a wall clock as well. There we go. I've used mainly the stock game bits. I haven't got well, I've got one expansion. I've got the off to work thing, I believe. What is it called? And playing with that. Decided to mess around with the walls here a little bit, because in a normal house the walls would be different, to, you know, have a little variation. So I decided to do that in here as well. Excuse me. So yeah, that's working out. And then I was sort of messing with the stove, thinking where should I put all this. Decided to put a nice little, you know, device over my stove. But yeah, I'm using mostly stock parts. But I guess if you were to, you know, use this particular build, you would probably you would be able to recreate this yourself. It's not that difficult to build. As I said, it's all stock parts, and it's all affordable for starting Sims. That was the whole outset. I believe the whole set is, I shared it on Origin, and it's about 19,051 simoleons, so you can hold on to your money for a bit, which is cool. I decided my lighting wasn't very good and moved it around a little. It looks slightly better, and I wanted to put the fridge in the corner there, so there we go. And a bin. We need a bin. And I want a pretty bin. I don't know why I put it in front of the window, I have no idea. There's no particular reason for that. And then I started messing with the dining spots, and then I decided, well, you know, dining in the hallway, that's nice, but dining, you know, like sort of looking out from your window is even better. So let's put them in there, and I'll put it like halfway in, like there's a little bit of a protruding out. That's fine. And of course there needs to be a family computer and all that stuff that needs to go in there as well. But first, a love seat. There we are. So yes, it has to be a starter home for two. For people who like a little bit of luxury, who are like on the modern side, and have no problems with living in such a modern house, obviously. I wanted to put some plants in as well, you know, just to break with the sterile environment. I discovered that plants do not go onto desks very well, but you can actually put them on dressers. There we are. And decided to have a nice little bookshelf there. Nice modern bookshelf, something with the environment mark thing. There we go. Looks pretty, doesn't it? I would think so. And I looked at the hobby things. I considered taking a fish tank, but then I was like, nah, let's not do that. And I Just also noticed that it would be a good thing to move that plant back into the hallway, and just put my desk like against the wall there, and have a nice little comfortable chair just to make sure that people can actually use the computer as well. And I picked a pretty hefty computer in there, I believe. There we go. But that's fine. I mean, there's 2 people working in that house. They both need to use it. And I think we're slowly but surely getting to the end of this part of the video. Yep, we are. I'm gonna just edit in some interior shots as well for you guys to look at. Guys and girls. I'm thinking of my female fans here as well. Lighting obviously being one of those last things you do. There we go. And the garden. I did a little bit of gardening as well, if I recall correctly. Yeah, we're going into the last phase here. There we are. Nice little tree. Some nice plants. I decided to put some lavender in. I like lavender. I don't think I have lavender in my garden, but I should. It's a nice plant. It's a lovely plant. Excuse me. Yeah, and in the end, I decided that the roof, but you'll see that in a moment, was not good enough. I did feel like having that hedge there. Then decided, well, it looks a little silly. This though looks fine. There we go. So, you know, I've left some expansion options here. Obviously, the Sims living here don't have money to fill their whole garden instantly. So, there's nothing bad with that. I've decided to put a lucky rock in there as well. I don't know why. But yeah, I'll be doing more of these, I think. Probably not weekly, because it took quite a bit of effort getting this whole thing edited, and for some reason my editing software decided it was a good idea just to mess things up by not reading the file correctly, and then the file ended up having a corruption, the initial recording of this particular build. So I had to use a little trick to actually have it render in my editing software as well. When you encode it, it just messed up. It gave a black screen. I didn't like that. And obviously a garden hose. You need a garden hose if you're gonna garden. There we are. But yeah, I fixed it by dubbing my recording, basically taking the raw footage, which was accessible by my video player, and simply recording that from screen with my good old trusted Bandicam. And there we go. So I think we're almost there now. I was fiddling with letterbox, what kind of letterbox I can put where. There we are. It's still a little bit, you know, it's bold, as in still a little bit empty in some instances, but it needs room for expansion. And here I was like, no, I want to change these edges up here. It doesn't look quite the way I want it to look. So I messed around with that for the last time. Here we are, and then I picked the wrong color for a second, and I had to tweak it a little bit, as one would expect. This is a nice little overview of the whole thing. There we go. So that's that. Anyway, there's gonna be some stills of the interior in a moment. I hope you enjoy those too. I hope you enjoyed the video and what I've built here, and maybe you'd like to see more. I am planning on, as I said, doing more of these, and they're not all going to be contemporary homes. They're going to be all kinds, I think. And if you have suggestions for what I should build, please do feel free to let me know. I will be very happy to oblige if I can. thank you all for watching, and enjoy the rest of this video.